Hi friends, the video that you're about to watch is a little bit different from my normal videos. This started out as a Reading Booktuber's Best Books of 2025 vlog back in January, but I wound up having a flare-up that lasted like 6 weeks. I got a brain infection about 2 years ago that has left me with chronic neurological symptoms, and every once in a while they come back up. And they come on really strong, and I basically have to put the majority of my life on pause. Unfortunately, one of the things that happens to me is I get really severe, constant vertigo. So when it gets really bad, I can't read, I can't watch movies, I can't drive a car, I can't go for a walk. Although the walking part is getting more sporadic as time goes on, thank God. I was going to scrap this video, but I did get through 2 important books, albeit very slowly, and I also decided that I wanted this visual journal to be able to look back on throughout my health journey. It's also nice to be able to look at the footage that I took before shit flared up as a reminder of how happy I can feel when I'm healthy. So I've decided to make the best out of a bad situation and turn this into the worst video series ever. And I'm calling it Ill-Literate, reading vlogs for when you're chronically ill and can't read too good. So here's to hoping that this is the shortest video series of all time. Fingers crossed, maybe I'll never have to make another one. Knock on wood. Oh, I also had to go back and I had to refilm the entirety of me talking about the first book because I broke my camera while filming the original intro to this video, which you will bear witness to in a minute. So just do me a favor and go with the flow here. It was a rough couple of months, and I did the best I could with what my broken body and my broken camera were working with. Okay, thanks, have fun.
Hello? Hello? Can anybody hear my voice? Anybody out there? Anybody hears me? Please respond.
Hi friends, it is once again time to start what is quickly becoming my favorite annual video to make, where I get to read BookTube's best books of 2025. Last year's was so successful that 2 of the books I read in January wound up on my top 10 of the year list. So fingers crossed I get that lucky again. I have been compulsively compiling a compendium of my favorite books of 2025 videos from booktubers, and then inserting that information into an intricate, an intricate intranet Excel spreadsheet. So as it stands, these are the top 12 books that have the most votes on the sheet so far that I own. My goal here is to whittle away at my physical TBR, not to go buy more books for this. So the top 12 that I own are Dungeon Crawler Carl by Matt Dinniman, The Will of the Many by James Islington, Blood Over Bright Haven by Emma Wang, I Who Have Never Known Men by Jacqueline Hartman, The Raven Scholar by Antonia Hodgson, Red Rising by Pierce Brown, Wild Dark Shore by Charlotte McConaughey, The Everlasting by Alex E. Harrow, The Tainted Cup by Robert Jackson Bennett, Brimstone by Callie Hart. I took the dust jacket off of this when I first got it and I have no idea where I put it. The Reformatory by Tananarive Due, and last but not least, The Second Death of Locke by V.L. Bovalino. Can you see this? No! Oh my god. Jesus Christ, that was so stupid and so bad. Is that not focusing anymore? Did I just break my camera? Oh my god. I genuinely might have just broken my camera. If this is not focusing, I don't know what to f***ing do. I'm gonna say the rest of this really fast so that I can upload this footage and see if I'm still focusing right now. So each of these books has 7 or more votes, according to the BookTube community. And if you are curious about it, the overall #1 spot is a 3-way tie between Atmosphere, Sunrise on the Reaping, and Dungeon Crawler Carl with 24 votes each. I don't own Atmosphere and I already read Sunrise on the Reaping, and so my very first book of this vlog will be Dungeon Crawler Carl by Matt Dinniman. But after that, the choices between the remaining 11 books will be left up to fate because I have made another purchase. You all by now have met my daughter, the TBR fish tank, and you've also probably met her sister, my darling raffle drum, and I'm thrilled to share with you that I've adopted another child. Everyone please meet, can you read that? She's gonna be a circus wheel. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna go put her together.
6.5 hours later.
I'm putting the circus wheel together and I've made a mistake. You'll see in a second, I've made a mistake. Like, I've made a huge mistake. Like, I've made a gigantic mistake. I real big f***ed up. I thought I was ordering, you can't even see it in the whole screen. Goodness gracious. I thought I was ordering one of those cute little tabletop I thought I was ordering a cute little tabletop wheel spinner to add to my collection. Look how big she is compared to her sisters. I thought I was ordering this teeny tiny cute little wheel spinner. I didn't realize I was ordering the f***ing Notre Dame. Hello? Oh my god, come on. Ow. There we go. Okay, don't they look so beautiful together? Look at my 3 daughters. I will not be adopting any more children because clearly I can't be trusted to choose the right ones or to be a responsible person. Oh shit. Oh shit. I was supposed to take this off first. Oh, here, you want some ASMR? Oh, there she is. That's right, she's supposed to be shiny. Anyway, with Circus Wheel joining the family, I am never gonna have to choose my own book ever again for the rest of my life. Between her, and her, I'm kind of set. That's really satisfying. So I'm gonna go ahead and read Dungeon Crawler Carl, and we will reconvene here afterwards to spin her for the next book. Okay, let's go. 1, 2, 3, break. Hi guys! So in my current timeline, it is early March right now. I just went to put the pieces of this video together and found out that thanks to me dropping this camera in the intro that you saw, both sections of me talking about Dungeon Crawler Carl recorded without sound and with huge chunks of dropped frames. And I freaked out a little bit thinking that everything that I've filmed since then would also be f***ed up, but after a little sleuthing, I found out that dropping the camera actually just broke the SD card that had been in the camera at the time. So I'm here 6 weeks later to talk to you again about Dungeon Crawler Carl. But you are going to pretend that it's still January and that we're talking about this for the first time. So I've read up to page 219 in Dungeon Crawler Carl so far. Essentially, this book is about a man named Carl who finds himself playing a real-life video game that's basically like if the Hunger Games was streamed live on Twitch. And this all happens because alien corporations come, take over, and squash the entire Earth into the dirt. They level everything, every building, every car, every structure. Everything gets squashed, and anyone who is under something or inside a building at that time gets squished and killed instantly. Carl was outside at 2 a.m. when this happened because he was chasing his ex-girlfriend's cat, whose name is Donut. And this makes me believe that I would have a real shot at surviving, at least initially, because Murphy and I are often outside at 2 a.m. She's 12 now, and she needs to pee a lot, so we have to go outside a few times in the middle of the night. So I think we'd be good, at least in the beginning. And I say survive initially because I've never played a video game in my life, and I have really bad asthma, so I wouldn't know how to strategize, and I can't run. Okay, well, okay. I say I've never played a video game in my life, that's not true. I've played Zoo Tycoon and I've played The Sims, but I don't think that either of those would help me out in this situation. Me not being a gamer also makes me feel like I have a little bit of a disadvantage when I'm starting this book out because there are already terms that I don't recognize. What the f is a tutorial guild? What are stat points? What does All melee-based damage debuffs such as stun, knockback, disarm, and out of breath are negated mean. The type of humor in this book might also wind up being a problem for me. I'm not usually one for humor in books in general, and this is very like dude humor, and it's cheesy dude humor. Like if Dungeon Crawler Carl was a movie, it would be co-directed by Michael Bay and Judd Apatow, which is a movie I would watch the out of, but my book tastes and my movie tastes are two very different beasts. But like humor-wise, there are llamas that shoot lava out of their mouth. Carl is stuck in this dungeon in his underwear and pink Crocs. And the cat's name is Princess Donut. She has a longer name, she's a show cat, but in the book she's called Princess Donut. And I'm a fan so far of the cat as a character, but having her name be Princess Donut is the most 2008 ass twee Tumblr mustache tattoo touch my butt and buy me pizza name Matt Dinniman could have come up with. So I am having reservations about the humor in general. But more importantly, I need to note something for me to take stock of as I'm reading through the next books. There's a scene on page 99. It starts on page 99 and it's Carl fighting a boss. This is not a spoiler. The entire book series is him fighting these characters. But if you want to go into these books knowing absolutely nothing, maybe skip ahead by a few minutes because I am going to quote this character directly. But he's fighting this 15-foot tall woman who they call the Hoarder, who is basically described as like this filthy, rotting mess and a garbage troll. The little paragraph about her says, trapped in her pile of rubbish, abandoned by society, the war inside her head has seeped out of her mind and infected both her body and her surroundings. So the aliens have taken this woman who was a real live woman living on Earth and they've turned her into this caricature. And then they have her say to Carl in Spanish, help me please, I don't know what's happening. My stomach hurts. I don't know where I am. Please, I'm scared. I'm sorry if I was a bad person. I didn't want my daughter to get sick. I don't want to be sick. Please. Please send me to Jesus. And my note here mostly is, after that, we better have big time character development and like deeper insight into the human condition going on in the rest of the series. Because what's being described here is a very sick, very scared woman begging Carl in Spanish for him to kill her. And she's a boss on level 1, so like not really a spoiler alert. Carl punches her to death. I cannot imagine that a series this beloved in this day and age would have that specific image on page if it wasn't going to lead into deeper insights about like the suffering of humanity. And there is something a few pages later that makes me feel like I'm right about that. I'm not gonna read it because that would be too spoilery, but in this version of the book, it's on page 129. It's the very last paragraph of chapter 15. So there are things going on that do make me feel like the book series will be headed in the right direction. That scene just struck me, but for now I have faith and trust in Matt Dinniman and what he's doing. Also, according to this book, we are all wrong about life on Earth. Men of science, men of faith, the aliens seeded the planet, which means that evolution isn't real and God's not real. But that begs more questions. Did the aliens also plant the fossils? Does this mean that dinosaurs never actually existed? Like, what are the larger implications? Well, I guess not the larger implications. Having the Earth be squashed for a big alien video game, that's probably the largest implication, but I want to know the other implications there. This book so far feels like if The Hunger Games, The Long Walk, and Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy had a baby, and all three of those things are things that I love. So I remain hopeful for the rest of the book and the rest of the series, and that's all that I have to say to you about the first half of the book. Egg. Oh my god. Egg. Okay, hi. Dungeon Crawler Carl is finally over. I'm not here to talk to you about that yet. I am just here to figure out what book I'm going to be reading tonight before I go to sleep. And then tomorrow morning I'll come talk to you about the end of Dungeon Crawler Carl. First, we have to finally use this old gal. Oh, she's dirty. Oh, she got dusty. We have to write all of our options onto here. So I'll be right back. I am going to need to figure out a better way to do this since this thing is so big. But for now, there are 14 spots on here. I've left the 2 dark blue spots empty because it's too hard to read anything on there. They're too dark. And I kept Dungeon Crawler Carl on here just so it's like an even 12. So I'm gonna spin it now. If it lands on Carl or either of the blank spots, we're just respinning. If you need to be reminded, our options are, and I put them in random order around the wheel. Our options are the Reformatory, Red Rising, Brimstone, the Tainted Cup, the Raven Scholar, the Everlasting, I Who Have Never Known Men, The Second Death of Locke, Blood Over Brighthaven, Wild Dark Shore, and The Will of the Many. So place your bets now, cross your fingers, pray to your gods. Let's see. Oh no. Come on. There's a thing on the back that has to loosen up for this to be able to go. Come on. Ow. Let's start with Dungeon Crawler Carl near me. That feels lucky. Okay. Place your bets, cross your fingers, talk to your gods. That's too loose. Oh no, it's too loose. It's too loose. I've learned a lesson. What did we get? Tighten that back up a little bit. What did we get? Oh, you can't even see it up there, can you? We got, oh. We got a dark blue spot. Hold on, let me tilt you up a little bit so that you can see what we actually land on next time, because that was a respin. There's a learning curve to this. Dark blue spot, respin. I don't know if that's what you asked your gods for, but ask for something else now. 3, 2, 1, let's go. What is it? Someone else look. I'm nervous. The Reformatory. We got the Reformatory. Yeah. Wow, I was nervous I wasn't gonna be able to read a horror book this whole time. Oh my god, I'm so excited. Oh, I've been waiting for so long to read this book. Okay, sick. I'll see you tomorrow morning with the ending of Dungeon Crawler Carl, and also maybe a little bit of the... probably not. Just Dungeon Crawler Carl. Dungeon Crawler Carl. Okay, bye. Hey guys, it's me. I'm back in the past, in January, to talk about the second half of this book. Oh, that was the biggest bug I've ever seen in my life. Holy shit. I really like Carl and Donut's relationship. They're resistant to each other in the beginning, but they slowly start to accept that they love each other, they make a really good team, and that they're really good at exploiting the dungeon for their own benefit together. There's also a character that's introduced at the end of the book that I obviously won't talk anything about, but the character is described kind of like how I might describe Egg, and now I'm incapable of picturing anything other than Egg when they bring up this character. I have a few theories about what goes on later in the series. I won't say anything specifically, but I have thoughts about the morality of the universe, Carl's ex-girlfriend, and also another character, just a blank, just another character that I will not say a single thing about. There are clearly so many things in the background of this story being built up. This is what's great about a well-planned out, long, multi-book series. Little seeds are being planted that we probably won't see brought up again until like book 6. There's really not a whole lot in the back half of the book that I can talk about without getting spoilery, but I definitely got sucked into the book more in that back half. And I gave it 4 stars, and I'm officially committing to the rest of the series. Although I do not think that I can get all the way through book 7 by May, I think, when the 8th book comes out, so I'll probably be a little bit behind everyone. Okay, I am going... Where the f am I going? Hold on. I'm going to the zoo with Peyton. Here's my... can you see me? Here's my zoo outfit. You can't see me. How do I show you this? Here's my zoo outfit. I'm going to the zoo with Peyton, and then I'm gonna come back and finally start reading The Reformatory. Okay, bye.
This looks amazing.
I mean, it's fun. Okay, I'm back from being with Peyton. The zoo. I forgot that it was a holiday. The zoo was too packed for us to go, so we skipped the zoo. We just went and got brunch. I showed her and her husband my favorite breakfast place in the city, which is a biscuit place. And now I'm back home, and it's time for me to read the fucking Reformatory. And listen, it's not the book that I'm having a mental block with, a little mini tiny book slump. It's not the book, it's life. I should be reading a lot. January, the first month of the new year. I should be getting through so many books. But Between my mom having her surgery and all the anxiety that came along with that, the anticipation and the waiting, between that and the general state of the country that I live in right now, my brain has just kind of been going full static. It's not a book slump that I've been in, it's like a living slump. It's a full life slump. But that is a slump that needs to end, and so therefore I came down to my office, I put on some sweatpants, and I'm not going to allow myself to remove my ass from this couch until I've made it. Let's see, I'll go easy on myself. 30 pages in is 3 chapters. I commit to sitting my ass on this couch for 30 pages, 3 chapters, that's it. Chances are I'll get more hooked and I'll want to stay and read for longer, but that is the necessity. If you just heard my knees crackling as I pushed myself back on the couch, no you didn't. Ignore that. I'm not old, I'm youthful, I'm very young, I'm a young lady. Starting a book is always the hardest part for me. It takes a lot of bribery of my own, mental bribery inside my own head to actually start any book ever, and then once I get past the first few chapters, I'm in and I'm hooked. But getting through that first block of mental bribery along with all of the everything that's been going on in life over the course of this month, it's been a lot for my brain to contend with. So 30 pages starts now. Let's see how long I actually go for. 30 is the minimum. I'll see you in a second. A little update. I have been absent and resting for like the past 10 days because some of my neurological symptoms have started to come back. I didn't bring it up before because I hoped that it was just gonna be little bits that would come and go quickly and I could leave you out of it. But not this time. I was driving just now to a protest in the city that it was also supposed to serve as a memorial for Alex Preddy, and the vertigo got so bad that I had to stop at this gas station. So now I'm going to sit here for 20 minutes and eat a bunch of salt and drink a bunch of water because that's supposed to help. And hopefully in 20 minutes I'll be okay enough to drive and I'll just be a little bit late, or I won't be better enough and I'll have to drive home, or worst case scenario, I'm not okay to drive and I call Eric and he has to come pick me up. I might as well update you a little bit on the reformatory while we're here. Half of my days this week I have had too much vertigo to read, and the other half of the days I get so tired so quickly that I only read a few chapters and I'm just exhausted. So I am getting through this book very slowly. Like, I've only read 55 pages so far, kind of slowly. I'm just also extra pissed right now because I was supposed to fly out to where my mom lives to help her and to help take care of her after she has major surgery. But this neurological shit has ramped up to the point where I can't get on an airplane and I had to cancel my flights. I was worried that I would get out there, get even worse, and then not only be an added burden onto her during her recovery, but then also maybe get so worse that I couldn't get back home. This sucks. One of the worst parts of being sick is how useless you feel when you're in the thick of it. Useless at best. At worst, you're like a burden to your friends and family and loved ones. Another bad part of being sick is that it's so boring. I'm too up to read a book. I'm too up to watch a movie. Boring. Being sick is boring. Sometimes I'm too sick to go on a walk. Can't walk a straight line, much less go outside and actually trust myself, like on the street where there are cars. Anyway, that's it. I'm gonna go eat saltines. I got back a few days ago from a weekend staying at my friend's place on the coast. Okay, well, my light battery died, so I guess we're just gonna go all natural lighting. I went to my friend's house on the coast for the weekend so I could breathe a little bit. Don't worry, I didn't drive. It was really nice, but it didn't help anything physically, obviously. I've been stable enough to watch a movie or two, so that's a nice change of pace. What else? Oh, right. I used a product to strip the pink out of my hair so that the girl who does my roots isn't mad at me like last time when I showed up with pink hair. Come on, Ego, come here. But the product smelled awful, and now my hair smells like chemicals, even though I've washed it like 3 times since then. And I already missed the pink hair. I regret doing this. Maybe I should just go pink permanently. I am 273 pages into the book by now and present enough to talk to the camera, so I thought that I should take time to give you a little bit of an update and to talk to you about the first half of the book. Just forgive me if my thoughts are a little bit messy right now. Obviously, I'm not doing too hot. The Reformatory is about a boy named Robbie who lives in Florida in the 1950s, in the Jim Crow era, where, especially in the South, you have rampant racism and like a blatant disregard for due process in the judicial system when it comes to Black people specifically. So 12-year-old Robbie defends his 15-year-old sister Gloria from this predatory white boy who lives down the road, and he's sent to the Gracetown School for Boys, which is a school in name only. It's essentially a prison system where this psychopathic warden can get away with torturing and murdering young Black boys and basically using them for legal slavery. This is I would call it a literary horror book, and the horror comes in the form of haints. And haints are basically ghosts. Robbie and his sister Gloria can see haints, which apparently is pretty common in children in the area that they live. And the haints that Robbie sees at this school would be traumatizing enough even without all the threats and the torture. He gets there and he's immediately bombarded by like 30 ghosts of boys who died in the structure fire. It's important to note that this school is based on the Dozier School for Boys in Marianna, Florida, a real-life reformatory that the author's uncle died at. And obviously that makes this book more difficult to read, just as the going on in this country makes the book more difficult to read right now, in Minnesota specifically. This country is such a bleak place right now, but it's always been a bleak place, which I'm reminded even more of through reading the Reformatory. We've never been a truly great country. Certain people have always risen above by trampling on and suppressing other people. Half of the people in this country seem to be terrified by anyone with brown skin or an accent. This book is incredible. It is just extra difficult to get through right now, and it's made even more extra difficult by the fact that I've been neurologically dissociating for most of the past month. But honestly, I'm thinking that maybe it's a good thing that I'm being forced to read this so slowly. It's given me time to have as much space as possible for the thoughts I have around the content of the book. And anyway, details about the actual book. There's this overarching theme about young Black kids being forced to grow up too soon and having their childhood stolen from them. Robbie and Gloria's father, whose name is also Robert, is a revolutionary who was run out of town by the Klan, and so this 15-year-old girl is left to drop out of school and essentially become a mother for her 12-year-old brother. Also, the boots that Robbie is sent to the reformatory with are his father's boots, so they're way too big, which is kind of a perfect symbol for him being forced to grow up too quickly, and the need for him to step into his father's shoes metaphorically as a young revolutionary. There are also so many points showing us the consequences of not only segregation and racist ideology, but also systemic racism. The boys at this school are so broken down by the warden and the staff members and life in the South in the 50s as Black boys in general, that Robbie's first beating at this place isn't by the warden or the white staff members. It's by the other boys who are imprisoned there. The staff members turn the boys against each other so efficiently that they forget who their actual enemy is. And my brain is trying to relate this to, stick with me for a second. I need to talk this out. My brain is trying to relate this to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which is basically the pyramid of each step of what you need for survival and like psychological wellness. The most crucial level, the bottom rung, is basic survival shit. Food, shelter, water, breathing, and sleeping, I think. And only one step up from that on the pyramid is safe. I'll put it right here. One step up is safety. I think it's called safety and security. Being able to feel safe from physical harm is only one step up from food, water, and sleep in terms of psychological stability. And these boys don't even have that, which means they are psychologically destabilized enough to be manipulated by this ass Warren and his ass staff, because all of these people are promising a false sense of that safety and security. Violence begets more violence. And also the same goes for the black men who are voluntarily working at this place. They're all offered this false promise of being almost as important and stable and secure as this white man that dominates over all of them. Some parallels to this could be things like how the current administration wants to keep people uneducated and wants to keep people shouldering a hatred for other humans. So they're too caught up in that to realize that the administration is the real enemy. Or like the toxic competitiveness between women in the early 2000s before we realized that the actual op is the patriarchy. The patriarchy that made up these bullshit rules from us that only they benefit from. Maybe I'm going off on a little bit of a tangent here. I have so many thoughts right now and not enough brain stabilization to handle all of them. But speaking of my thoughts, I do want to check my own thought process on something regarding their father, Robert Stevens Sr. I think it's really important to be introspective and to examine your thoughts when you have one that pops up that maybe doesn't feel quite right. Like I said, he's a revolutionary who gets run out of town by the Klan for trying to enact peaceful change. And my very first thought was to think, why did he have to do this? Why did he have to be the one to try something? He finally had a home to keep his kids safe in. Why him? But that's not right. Nothing changes without effort and sacrifice. And it's not right for me to wish that he wasn't the one to make that sacrifice just because I now know a tiny fraction of his story. It's not okay to sit in the mindset of it's okay just for faceless people who are unknown to me to make these sacrifices. And then counting on you or the people that you know to be the ones to do nothing but reap the benefits. Everyone needs to be involved in making change. And so that's the thought that I wanted to check myself on. I have one more thing I wanted to touch on, which is the fact that Robbie is scared of the Haints before he realizes that they're not here to scare him. They just want to be seen and remembered, and they want their stories to be heard. A Haint visits Robbie at one point while he's trying to sleep, and it says the dead boy was trying to tell him a chorus of I was. Wasn't that all Haints wanted? For someone to be sorry. I haven't read The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath, but I know that one of the most famous quotes from it is something like, the old brag of my heart, I am. And I can't imagine that that line didn't inspire this one. The bell jar line, I believe, is about the narrator hearing the beat of her own heart and understanding that she has survived. She is alive despite her hardships and her suffering. I was is about a different kind of need. It's obviously in the past tense because it's coming from a ghost, but it's still about survival in a sense. To be seen and to be remembered is to live on in some way. And this ghost is desperately trying to get Robbie just to see him and to acknowledge that he existed, he was alive, he mattered. And this is what Tananarive is doing for her uncle. He died as a young boy in a horrible place, but she is telling a version of his story and even using his name for the main character so that he would not. Okay, I'm done. I apparently had a lot more thoughts than I realized, and now I'm so tired. I will see you in maybe 45 years when I finish this book.
One eternity later.
Okay, it's been a few weeks. I'm finally starting to feel better neurologically, and I finally finished the entire book. I have pretty much nothing more to add to the 8-hour speech I gave before, except that this book is incredible, and I'm giving it a 4.5 star, and I'm pretty sure that the 1/2 star down is just because it took me so long to read because I was sick. So that 1/2 star down is on me. It's not fair to the book. Should I just give it a... No. Don't overthink it. 4.5 stars. I was entranced by Robbie's journey and Gloria's journey, and I really cannot wait to devour absolutely anything else that Tananarive writes. I think I have 2 short story collections by her, but I don't have any longer length novels, so I'm gonna have to get on top of that as soon as possible. This is a perfect story of survival and perseverance and comeuppance. Okay, now I'm done. Now that's all I have to say. I thought I was going to be able to read a 3rd book for this video, but I wound up getting a little bit more sick after I thought I was all better. So this vlog ends here, and aside from the obvious shittiness that was going on in my body, I wound up with a 4 star and a 4.5 star, and that feels pretty good to me. If you've made it this far into the video, thank you so much for being here for the first and hopefully last iteration of illiterate. And if you can hear me, if you can read the subtitles, I hope you're having a fantastic weekend. I hope you're all being safe and healthy and happy. Love you. Bye. Hi friends, it is once again Hi friends, it is once again time to do. I thought I was It go no.